All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through a few more examples of building and solving equations. So remember, this is the two columns, and we're going to build the equation first, and then after that, we're going to follow those steps backwards in order to solve. So your first one we're going to do is 2x plus 12 is equal to 4. So we start with our two columns. We're going to do the building over here on the left, and then we are going to undo or solve on the right. Okay. So whenever you are building an equation, it doesn't matter what comes first or second or third. It doesn't matter what actually, like as you're reading it, what comes first. Step one, whenever you're building, is all going to be about the variable. So you always start with the input is your variable. Okay, so this is where we start. And then from there, we want to look at what is happening to this thing. So what's happening to x? Two things. It's being multiplied by 2, and we're adding 12 to it. Okay, so the question is, which of those would we have to do first? The order of operations says you have to do your multiplication before you can do adding or subtracting. So step 2, after we start with our input of x, step 2 is to multiply by 2. Then step 3 is going to be to add 12. And then our last one is our output, which is the equals 4. This is going to be the output. And the output is always the equals whatever the number is. Okay. So this is our equation. 2x plus 12 is equal to 4. These are the build steps, 1 to 4. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to start at the bottom, and then we're going to work our way back up in order to solve the equation. So again, we start with the same line that the output is equal to 4. The next step as we go up, we need to do the inverse operation. Inverse operation means that we're going to do the opposite operation. We're going to do an undo for plus 12. So the opposite of adding 12 is subtracting 12. So minus 12 is going to be that step. And then we are going, instead of multiplying by 2, the opposite of multiply, its inverse, is to divide by, divide by 2. And then again, whenever you are solving an equation like this, your answer is going to end up being written in the form variable is equal to some number. Okay. Right now, we don't know what that number is, but we're going to use these steps now that we've written them out to figure that out. So you're going to start with 4, and then as you go up to this line, you're going to take that 4 and you're going to subtract 12. 4 minus 12 is a negative 8. Then you're going to take that negative 8 up another line. Negative 8 divided by 2 is equal to negative 4. There's no other math steps to do, and so this becomes our answer for what x is equal to. X is equal to negative 4. Once you think that you have your answer, you can take that answer and you can go back over here again and replace x with negative 4 and go through these steps and make sure that you end up at this output that you want. So if I have negative 4 and I multiply it by 2, that's going to give me negative 8. And then if I take that negative 8 and I add this 12, that will give me positive 4. So that means that my answer is correct here. So this is our answer when we solve our equation, x equals negative 4. All right, I'm going to give you a second before we write down our next one, but feel free to pause it if you need some more time to get all of that written down. Our next equation is going to be negative 5c plus 9 is equal to negative 16. So again, when we do our build and then undo, you want to think about what is happening to the variable. That's what's going to go over here. What is happening to it, and then how do we undo that over here? So always, step number one, start with your input. The input in this problem is c. That's our variable. What's happening to this c? First, it is being multiplied. Multiplied by a negative 5. After we multiply it by negative 5, then we can add 9. And when we do those two things to our variable c, we should have an output equal to negative 16. So just a reminder as we kind of go through these problems, this step here, step number 1, and the last step, whenever you're building an equation, are always going to be the same. Variable, answer, equals negative 16. Okay. These steps 2 and 3, or if you have more operations, these steps are the ones that will change from problem to problem. Now that we have our build steps done, we will come over here and we will undo all of those things. So again, we start with our output. It's going to equal negative 16. As we work our way up the problem, we'll end up with c equals something. We just don't know what yet. So the steps we'll need to follow are the inverse operations. So instead of adding 9 over here, I'm going to subtract 9. And instead of multiplying by negative 5 over here, I'm going to divide by negative 5. The positive and negative doesn't change. It's just the operation that we're doing. Now we should have our steps. If we follow this math all the way up, we should find out what c is equal to. So we start with negative 16, and we will subtract 9 from that. So remembering our integer rules, subtracting 9 is the same as adding negative 9. Negatives plus negatives is more negatives. So that's a negative 25. Take that negative 25, move it further up, and then we'll do this math to it. Negative 25 divided by negative 5. Negative divided by negative is a positive, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. There's no other math to do, no other steps. So now we know that c is equal to 5. If you go back over here, substitute that 5 in for c, this line becomes 5 times negative 5, which is negative 25. And if we add 9 to that, we get our negative 16. So we know that we've checked our work and we are good to go there. All right, one more problem for now. We're going to do 3x minus 12 is equal to 9. We're going to build on the left, and then we will solve or undo on the right. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's what I'm going to suggest. Try pausing this video right now and see if you can fill in these build steps on your own. and then go ahead and hit play and see if you get the same thing that I get. All right, we should begin with our input, which is our variable x. Once we know that the input is x, we look at what is happening to it. The first thing, based on the order of operations, is we're going to multiply x by 3. After we multiply by 3, we're going to need to subtract 12 from that answer. And then our output is going to be equal to 9. Okay, that's our building steps. Hopefully you got that and you're feeling better about this. Move over here. Let's do the same thing. Think about your steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, working back up. Hit pause on this video and see if you can fill in these steps. And then we'll see if we get the same thing. This bottom line is going to be the same. We're still starting with output of 9. Then we are going to do the inverse operation. Instead of subtracting 12, over here when we solve, we're going to add 12. And then our operation was times 3. So the inverse operation is we're going to divide by 3. If we do all of those steps, we should end up with x is equal to whatever we get. Now it's just a matter of going through and following these steps. Start with this number and add 12 to it. 9 plus 12 is 21. Then you're going to take that number, and that's what you'll start with on the next line. 21 divided by 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. And that is our answer. X is equal to 7. One last time, the check on that. Take that 7, substitute it in for x. So wherever you see x, you can erase it, and you can pretend that it's now a 7. 7 times 3 is 21. 21 minus 12, that's 9. So we are checked, and we know that we're good. All right, hopefully a couple more examples has you feeling a little better on it. If you are still feeling like you're struggling, please let me know, and we can do a couple more. Have a great day. Good luck. Bye.